When you see through the narcissist. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So, seeing through the narcissist, this is something that takes each and every one of us a lot of time. You see, we were all caught up in the trauma bond. We were caught up in the devaluation stage. We were being taken advantage of. We could not do anything right. We kept on trying to please the person who was manipulating us and abusing us. We were essentially trapped in that narcissistic fog. Now, I've shared for years those exact same three notions: the trauma bond, the narcissistic fog, and the devaluation stage. They are all three interchangeable. They are all three unique to themselves, yet if you add them together, it equals one word: narcissism. That's exactly what the narcissist does. They go in their rule book, in their playbook that was handed to them quite a long time ago, and they have to turn to different pages and figure out what techniques and what behaviors to dump into people to get them to do whatever they want them to do. That is what is known as the toxicity tool belt that the narcissist has around their waist. The narcissists always use the same playbook. They all do the exact same things. They all hoard money. They all want to use the smear campaign. They all triangulate. They all blame. They all change the past. They all rewrite history, and they all need one thing, and you should know what that one thing is by now. That is right. It is supply. Now, you didn't know what supply was way back when. You didn't know that narcissism existed either. You probably didn't even really do the deep dive on what empathy was. I am an empath. I'm a true blue empath, an empathetic human being who has a very high level of empathy. Many people out there on the interwebs are saying that empathy doesn't exist, or that a true empath doesn't exist. Well, I'll tell you three words: shame on you. All of you people probably don't have empathy, which is why you're trying to act like people like me and the community don't have it either. Well, there's your gaslighting 101 that ran the planet for quite a long period of time. Until when? You got it. Until it couldn't run the planet any longer. You see, us, the people who were targeted, the people who have become awakened and aware, educated and empowered, we now know the truth. We now know our truth, and we are comparing our stories with other people's circumstances and experiences. We're coupling those experiences and other people's stories with the definitions in the glossary on the narcissistic abusive cycle. And what does that equal? You got it. Wisdom. This wisdom you've acquired is a newfound superpower. It's a newfound superpower on steroids, because back then you couldn't see what the narcissist was doing. Now, when you see through the narcissist, or plural, you now know that they all do the same things. They all behave the same ways. They all try to trap and destroy people. They all capture people, and they want to blame people and shapeshift. And they all become what is known as the aging narcissist. You may ask yourself, well, what is the aging narcissist? I'll tell you right now. Aging narcissist is not, and I repeat, not a pretty sight to see, but it's what all these people become if they reach a certain age. It's when their looks begin to fade. It's when their health declines. It's when they may or may not have money, and they're trying to rewrite the past and act like they didn't dump all the toxicity into the people that cared about them 10, 20, 30, 50, 80 years ago. Like, they just want to rewrite the past. Well, what the narcissist is beginning to understand is they can't rewrite the past, and that a lot of people are figuring out and catching on to them. Many people, and I'm at the top of that list, and my hope is you are too, have already seen behind or seen through the narcissist. You have to remember, this person you're considering, they didn't want you to figure out who they were. They didn't want you to put two and two together. They definitely didn't want you to heal. They didn't want you to implement boundaries. They didn't want you to elevate and ascend. They didn't want you to go no contact. They didn't want you to block them. They didn't want you to find out your true purpose and your calling and the direction of your life. This person you're considering, what they did essentially is they got a grip of you. They changed the trajectory of your life. Not for a day, not for an hour or a minute. I'm talking for months, if not years, or maybe even decades. And they knew what they were doing because they saw you as a fuel source. They saw you as an appliance they could plug into the wall and turn you on and turn you off whenever that's what they wanted. What they didn't realize is that you were stronger than they thought. What they also didn't realize is that you would be able to see right through them eventually. And this is a very, very important video I'm creating, and it's a very important mindset for those of you who haven't wrapped your head around this yet, or maybe you have, or maybe you're beginning to do the work. But you really need to stay with this video, because once you see things, you can't unsee them. Once you hear things, you can't unhear them. Once you experience them, again, you can't unexperience them. Think about this. Those three things I just shared, that's what the narcissist wants to do. They want to rewrite the past. They want to act like they didn't hear it. They didn't say it. They didn't see it. Think about it. It's the polar opposite of your experience. So why I'm sharing that and I'm drilling into this topic of when you see through the narcissist, when you see through them, you can't go backwards now. Now you know, example, what gaslighting is. You now know what triangulation is. Now you know what a rage fit is and verbal abuse and on and on. When you see it, you need to realize that things will never, with a capital Never, never improve with that person you're considering. Think about the minute you met that person until when the relationship ended. Did that relationship improve over time? Absolutely not. It was like a losing stock in the stock market that just kept going down and to the left, lower and lower and lower. And it was at one point a promising stock, but it became less than a penny stock, and eventually it went bankrupt. There is your narcissistic relationship in a nutshell. The thing is, if the narcissist weren't who they are, and if they weren't who they didn't tell you they are, which means a raging narcissist, well, then you could have worked something out with the person. And I hope you follow that part. The thing is, they were not authentic. They weren't genuine. They are a narcissist. They hid in the weeds. They wore a mask. They manipulated you. So they were not authentic. If you really want the truth, they were a predator. They still are. They used their predatory instincts to capture a person, which in this case was you, and they wanted to do their best to trap you and to make sure they could feed off of you whenever they needed something to be done or whenever they wanted to get something from you. This is why you became the unpaid helper, the walking apology, the sounding board, the cook, the cleaner, the chauffeur, the errand person, and so many more hats hats that you wore when you were in the relationship. But you didn't sign up for any of these things. I used to say that. I would say maybe once every 2 months or so when I was caught up and trapped in the narcissistic fog. I would say those exact words. I didn't sign up for this. What's going on here? And I would probably say it very similar to that. And what would happen? Well, those words would fall upon deaf ears, but the person I would be saying them to would be listening and saying, yep, I'm really winding this one up. Let's see how much more batteries left in the fuel tank, and eventually I'll discard that person. Well, that's what happens. It's what happened with you. The truth of the narcissistic relationship is that it benefits one person, and that person wasn't you. It never will be you. It will only be the toxic apex predator, the narcissist, which is why they are loyal to nobody. They care about nobody. They don't want anybody to see what they're doing. They don't want anybody to heal. They don't want anyone to figure out who they are. And once somebody gets too close to discovering who they are, the narcissist is gone, just like that. Now, that doesn't happen every single time. But once they catch a whiff, I'm referring to the narcissist, they catch a whiff that you're catching on to them, they'll do one of a couple things. 1, discard you immediately. 2, drag it out longer. 3, love bomb you and try to insert the new supply a little quicker. Or 4, act like they didn't hear what you're talking about, or maybe call you the narcissist. Who knows what it would be. But whatever they do, they knew. The narcissist was always testing the temperature of you. They were testing you every waking minute of your life, whether you know it or not. And you may say, well, how could they be testing me the waking minute of my life? Even when I was, let's say you were married to the narcissist hypothetically, and say that they were on a business trip, wink, wink, for a day that turned into 3 weeks because they got stuck in some place and you didn't realize that they were lathering up the new supply, cheating on you, whatever they were doing. But right there, that even when they weren't with you, you were still thinking about them, and you're still checking your phone, and you're still answering their questions, and you're still paying their bills and taking care of their kids and paying the mortgage. You were doing everything you needed to do. That's why your whole life when you were in the relationship was put on hold, to the detriment of yourself, to the benefit of the narcissist. The narcissist wants to collect people. They want to collect as many people as they can so they could sit in their tiny little roost, which is in the low vibrational quagmire state, their tiny little dungeon of horrors, and they can rule from that little spot. This is what they want to do. Now, it's a little graphic, it's a little rough, but if you've been in a cycle, you know what I'm talking about. The narcissist doesn't want to do anything on their own. They want to steal people's hopes, ideas, dreams, aspirations, goals, futures, purposes, relationships, health, money, time, 401k, and more. And they don't care. If you think for a minute the narcissist ever cared about you, you really need to play this video multiple times. They didn't care about you. Someone who cared about you would not be abusing you. Someone who cared about you would actually apologize and mean it. Someone who cared would actually atone for their mistakes and not duplicate them or replicate them again. Someone who cared would not be slamming doors in your face. Someone who would care wouldn't be walking 30 feet in front of you. Someone who would care wouldn't be sitting on a couch next to you while you were watching a movie, and they would be on one of their 3 smartphones, their tablet, their laptop, or more, getting sources of supply right underneath your nose. Someone who cared about you would not be wearing a mask. See what I'm sharing? The person you're considering, they are not good as a human being. They're not good in your life. They're not good in anyone's life. But what they want to do is latch on or glom on to other people and use those people as fuel sources. Remember, the narcissist is a parasite, and they are constantly looking for a host, but the host is interchangeable. Host can be a host for a weekend. It can be a host, I'm talking about the person they're milking dry. It can be a person for a 3-hour airplane flight. It can be in a 10-minute Uber ride. It can be a person they married for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, so on and on and on. The whole point of what I'm sharing with you is way back when you didn't know what you know now. You couldn't see through the narcissist. Now you can. Now you can see narcissism everywhere, all over the planet. Think about it. Where is the narcissist? Not the one you're considering, but where is the narcissist in general? That's right, they're everywhere. They're probably sitting right next to you if you're at work right now. They're probably on the same bus, maybe even the bus driver if you're on a bus. They could be on the airplane. As a matter of fact, I'm certain they're on the airplane that you're on right now. They could be in the vacation hotel that you're vacationing right now, wherever you are. They could be your new boss. They could be your old boss. They could be your landlord, could be your roommate, could be your sister, could be your mom, could be your ex-lover, could be the person you just grabbed a coffee with a few minutes ago. Why I'm sharing all those things is you need to get the message. The sooner you go no contact with the person you're considering, the better off you will be. The sooner you delete them, remove them, and all flying monkeys and people associated with them, the better off you will be. The less you know about the person you're considering, the better off you'll be. The less they know about you, the better off you will be. And you need to realize that not everyone gets as far in this journey as you have. Certainly not as far as I have. But once you make it and you can see light at the end of the tunnel, then you realize that, yeah, what Andrew speaks of, the mountaintop, the pinnacle of indifference, not only is it real, but I'm standing there right now. Yes, I'm standing there right now. And there are so many other people who have helped get to where I am, not literally, but figuratively. And those people are now paying it forward too. Remember, I shared this with you earlier in the year. There's a ripple effect that no longer is a ripple. It's now becoming a small little wave in what was an ocean of abuse. And that little wave is the wave of authenticity. It's the wave of accountability, and it's the wave of independence. And guess who's on that wave? You are, and I am too. But there's no room on that wave for narcissism. The narcissists are going to get beached. They're going to be stuck on their own island of abuse. And guess who's going to be there to help them out? Not one person. Now you may say, whoa, that's rough. What's going on there? Well, I told you before, I'll tell you again. I don't wish ill will upon anybody. I'm not going to start now. What I'm going to say is you can't go through life destroying people's lives, hopes, dreams, aspirations, goals, health, relationships, money, time, purpose, and more without there being a big price to pay. That price is happening right now on the planet called Earth because there's a huge shift taking place. This isn't wishful thinking. This isn't a person saying, oh, well, I hope one day the things... I am watching it unfold before my very eyes. Yesterday was my 5-year anniversary of creating my channel. Yes, Narc Daily's 5 years old. Today is the second video I'm creating in the 6th year of me creating videos. And why I'm sharing all that is things are beginning to move, people. The wheels of progress are in motion. The wheels of abundance are apparent. The wheels of authenticity can no longer be repressed. We, the collective, are getting stronger. They, the toxic, raging narcissists and the underworld people, don't have nearly as many places to hide, and they know it, and I know it, and you know it. That's why when you can see through the narcissists, plural, what you need to do is not overshare information, not take the bait, not let them know you know, don't call them out, don't expose, just observe and say, yep, there's another one, got it. All right, maybe I won't be going to this store any longer, or I won't be putting my gas at this gas station any longer, or I won't be sitting and grabbing lunch with that workmate because they're toxic and they're trying to get me fired. Who knows how it will work out? But you need to remember, you have to have a small footprint. You need to stay in the cocoon of boundaries and heal. Once you're done healing, only you will know. I won't know, and nobody else can tell you. You will know when you're ready, and when you're ready, jump back out into humanity with your boundaries. Make sure you trust your instincts, your intuition. Understand that you have now the power of discernment. You now have a skill set that very few people will ever have, although many people claim to have it, which is identifying toxicity and having been in the narcissistic abusive cycle, made it out, healed properly, and arrived at the mountaintop, the pinnacle of indifference. Yes, I just said a mouthful, but you have to understand you're different than everyone else. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to explain yourself to anybody. You don't have to answer anyone just because they sent you a text, gave you a phone call, or dropped you an email. You don't owe anybody one thing. Play that part of the video again. You don't owe anybody anything. That's what the narcissist wanted to use to control you. They were blaming you, guilting you, telling you that you owe them, or you should have done that, or you could have. Well, those days are done. Remember, the narcissist took their best shots, plural, at you, but they failed. And yes, they did fail miserably. That's why you're here, and that's why you're keeping your cup full. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you all, and I'll talk with you tomorrow. Couple things for you. Number one, notice the green. It's coming in here. The spring is completely here. Number two, thank you all sincerely for all the well wishes from yesterday's video. Glad you made it. I appreciate it all immense. I appreciate you all immensely. I am so grateful and fortunate to have you all as part of the community. Please, no matter what you do, don't tempt toxicity. Please, no matter what you do, maintain your boundaries. And please, no matter what you do, understand that you, yes, you are the priority. You come first, second, and third. And there's no room in your life now or in the future for toxicity. There isn't time for it. You need to really cut the ties with the dead weight. Cut the four ties, the emotional, the financial, the physical, the spiritual tie from the raging narcissists. Heal properly, and begin living your abundant life. But one thing's for sure. You, just like myself, you can now see right through the narcissist. That's a skill set. You couldn't do it before. I couldn't either. But once you can do it, once you really heal and do the deep dive, not only into narcissism and yourself and humanity and mindset and empathy, then this is a skill set that no university could teach you. No one can sit down and show it to you in a couple days. This is your life, people. You have been to hell and back. You're out. You're now in the abundant mindset. You've cut all the ties, and you now can see right through the narcissist. That was their worst nightmare. And guess what? It's just beginning. I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Bye.